Hey guys, welcome to the Rockford Ordinance. We are here tonight with a little coffee and Kalashnikovs. Not sure how many people we got in here just yet, but got our coffee ready to go. Good old standby, some hazelnut. And hey, here we are. It's been a couple weeks and had a lot going on. And told you the last live stream that I'd be gone for a week, possibly two, and that's what it ended up. Um, Tonight we are going to go into a whole bunch of just stuff. Hold on one second. Looks like our chat is disconnected. I wonder why. Let's see if it's working. Yeah, looks like it's working. Anyhow, we got a few people in here. So my daughter got married. Well, this Saturday will be 2 weeks. A week. I don't know anymore. It's been 2 weeks, I guess. It's been so hectic. And then I was out of town for business for a while and just all over the place. So it's better to take a little time off, a little break anyways, give everyone a rest and go from there. Why is the chat not working? There we go. Now we can see it. Ta-da. So let's see who's in here. Joe's been jonesing, man. It's been going on 3 weeks. We're pushing it here, right, Joe? But hopefully some of you got the notice about the video we dropped earlier today. And it's I hope, long awaited. You know, we've been talking about Mosin Nagants and was going through, digging around in the back of the safe, and came across an M38 and then a bunch of 9130s were back there. And I dug a little further back and, oh, there it is. I got it with the big bayonet M44. That was the one that started this whole craziness. Got me into collecting, got me interested in the history, and just started the collecting and hunting and buying and reloading and ultimately this channel. So yeah, you guys can thank a lowly $69 Mosin Nagant M44. So if you got notification and saw the video, just talked about how I found it and kind of went crazy with the history of it and all, and got into it and bought other versions, and that led to SKSs and AKs, and I really got into the Russian end of it. It was just a natural progression, and getting into collecting at that point, Russian guns were cheap, all Russian guns, really inexpensive. So it was nice to be able to jump in and not have to spend, hell, even 500 or 1,000 or 1,500 or $2,000, like a lot of rifles today are. Not just military surplus, but hey, let's say you're one of those unlucky guys that wants to, somehow maybe you get one gifted to you, right? And all of a sudden you decide, yeah, I'm going to collect Swiss guns. Boy, are you in for a ride, as is your bank account, right? But stepping back, it's got to be between 15 and 18 years ago, somewhere in there. I forget exactly when. But I'm walking through, some of you guys saw the video, so you know this, but I'll go a little further in depth too. And then we'll get into the variants, and we'll compare it to today and what's out there and what you can collect inexpensively and really amass a nice collection that's actually going to appreciate and, have a nice chunk of change put away there should you ever decide to sell it. There are some ways to go still, guys, lots of ways. So never fret, even though you missed out on some of these deals back then. But it's a long time ago, right? A lot of guys may have just still been in diapers, guys and gals, right? 18 years ago, man. What if somebody's 22, 23 now? That seems like eons ago, but it's not. Anyhow, I'm walking through a big box sporting goods store, and they had a small gun counter in the corner, but they had a lot of guns packed in. Whole upper rack of rifles, lower rack of rifles and ammo, and several cases, uh, display cases with handguns, and they were jammed in there. All the modern stuff and everything. And I'm walking by, and I see this. They had two or three of them out there, and they're obviously old wooden stocks. And I thought, oh, they must be like used trade-ins or something, because this box store actually took trade-ins, similar to how Gander did or something before. And I start to look, and I can tell there. I didn't. The term milsurp wasn't in my vocabulary yet. I'm gonna take a step back. So my my entire gun history at that point was, I got a shotgun before my 16th birthday for shooting trap. I got a Winchester 94 for going deer hunting when I was 16. And when I went on the police department, I got a Smith & Wesson 686 357 4-inch stainless is my service revolver. And that's what I had for guns. Now, you say, well, geez, how'd you amass, the knowledge you have and the collection you have over, 18 years isn't a short period of time, but it's, it's still takes a while to get going and cooking, right? My dad was always into the hobby. He was a trap shooter, number one, but he just loved guns in general. And the 80s, early 80s, late 70s was a cool time. There was a lot of stuff out there, what we would call pre-band today, I guess. And you could get Chinese AKs, there were FNFALs, SP1 Colt AR-15s. Trying to think what other there were SKSs around, Garands, stuff like Garands and 1903s, K98 Mausers, all that stuff was around, right? Lots of it, and dirt cheap. I think you could get a Garand for a couple $100, literally. And at the time, I think if you went through the CMP, at that time, I think they were free. They were a little bit more sticklers when it came to, qualifying. You guys have heard what you got to go through the CMP. You have to shoot a competition or belong to a club, this and that. But back then, I believe they were free. There were always ads in the magazines. Join the CMP, get a free rifle mailed right to you. There was just a lot of cool stuff. The rifles I named off there were just a few that I thought were cool. And I grew up as a kid shooting those long before my 16th birthday. Dad would take us to the range, me and my brother, and we'd put up targets and shoot. And he had a Ruger 1022 that we'd shoot. We loved shooting the 22s. He had an AR-7 survival rifle. At that point, I think they were made by Charter Arms, though. Now they're being made by Henry. I think it was Charter. Same gun. They bought the rights to it. Butt stock, or the butt plate, came off, and the barrel was in there, a receiver, and the magazine. And you pulled the receiver out, screwed it to the butt stock, screwed the barrel to that, put the mag in, you were good to go. It was a little lightweight, hollow stock survival rifle that was made originally for the military, I believe. But we used to love to shoot that. Thought it was so cool because it came apart and everything, Looked like something out of the movies, like you'd be screwing a silencer on or something. But we shot the heck out of that thing. And we're at a range in Powers Lake, Wisconsin, trap club. And during the week, you could go and shoot on the range. So we were down there all alone. And I remember loading a mag for either the 1022 or that Charter Arms. and my dad had been messing with a rifle, and he was behind us. We were behind the line. Everything was safe. I didn't know he was about to shoot, and he let a shot fly, and it was the Belgian FNFAL 308. And it surprised me. What I remember most about it was just how concussive that shot was. And we had earphones on and everything, but it was just so sharp and just boom, you felt your chest, and you'd swore the ground shook. And I just remember turning around and looking at that. And my dad's looking at us smiling, and he lets a few more go. And it was just, you could just boom, boom, boom. I mean, it was it just impressed upon me. I just thought, God, that thing is just incredibly powerful. And we were hooked. I mean, man, it was just neat. We shot it. They had a steel plate hanging from a chain there. They had um, uh, where you'd hang targets all made out of creosoted 6x6 railroad ties. And hanging from it, from a big chain, was a round steel plate about this big. And I bet it was 3/4 inch thick, maybe half inch, but it was pretty darn thick. And back then you didn't have AR 500 steel and all that stuff. But my dad said, shoot at the plate. So I got to put the bipod out on it and everything, got down, and boom. That 308 ball ammo drilled a hole through that steel plate like a high-speed drill. Just through, done. And I went up and looked at it. I couldn't even believe it. I'm like, wow. And we just thought that they were so neat. We shot the ARs. He had a couple ARs, the SP1 that you've seen in my videos. He had the Chinese Bakelite folder, Norinco, that you've seen in my videos. That's the favorite thing my dad's handed down. Trying to think what else. There were deer rifles and shotguns. Oh, back in the day, he had Ingram Mac 10s. We had them in 45-9 and 380. An Uzi, the good ones, the one that came in the blue and gold box. Came with the longer barrel, but had the folding stock and all, right from Israel. Not a kit gun, not a put together. Bought it right over the counter. Came with a faux shorty barrel on it for display. I still have the blue and gold Uzi case and a Uzi paperweight, all kinds of little things, because we were friends with the gun dealer. Anyhow, I'm getting to the Mosins. Don't worry. Just giving you a little history. So my dad was good friends with this FFL, and they shot a lot of IPSC 45 combat matches and whatnot. And unbeknownst to me at the time, and unbeknownst to me until a very short period of time ago, the head gunsmith at this shop was no other than Mark Krebs. And back then, Mr. Krebs was a 45 guy. He spent his time building 45 race guns, and was pretty darn good at it. But he was the gunsmith there. I don't recall him being out front much, I think he probably hung out back. Maybe I just didn't see him. I don't know. I was a kid. I was 16, 15. And, but later I found out from Mark that he was the gunsmith there, and he remembered my dad. And that was kind of cool. But anyhow, the owner of the shop had a private plane, and he'd fly us down to Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and there was a big quarry there. Now, that town has grown immensely. It's a very rich vacation town now. But the quarry outside of town, he had permission to shoot there. He was an SOT and had all his licenses and all this. And we went one day, and they opened up the back of the truck, and there was every cool thing you could ever imagine, right down to a full auto M60. And they pulled that thing out, and there was an old lawnmower down in the quarry, and having contests is who could bounce that lawnmower up into the air with a shot and hold it up there. So it was like boom, 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 and that mower would bounce higher and higher. Sometimes you'd hit it and it wouldn't come up, but you could get that thing 8 feet off the ground. Didn't last too long. A few bursts and that was the end of the mower, but um, they had Auto Max and Uzis and you name it, it was there. And we were just blasting away thousands of rounds and mags, and the ground was littered with brass. And we took a little break from shooting and we're standing around. We had a table set up in the tailgate, standing around. And one of the guys was facing the other way. He says, "Hey guys, look." We turn around up at the top of the quarry. There's a police squad car up there, and he's by this little group of big trees. Car's like half behind it, and you see a little wave. He says, "Hey guys," he's yelling, from way up. He says, "You mind if I come down and talk to you?" So yeah, come on down. He goes, "Everything's okay?" He says, "Yeah, come on down." He was, as you can imagine, a little leery as to what he was walking into. But he comes down. I'm just standing in the background. I'm a kid. And they come down and he says, "Hey, what are you guys up to today?" And he told them who they were, what they were, who had given him permission. I don't think they even asked for any paperwork. He may have handed them a business card or something, but it was a county sheriff. I don't even remember the county there, but the trepidation turned to excitement. He's looking at all the guns and everything. He says, "You guys wouldn't mind if I tried one of these out, would you?" I said, "Hell no, go ahead." This guy had a smile. He was shooting. He must have been there 2 hours with us. And it ended with, well, he said, "Guys," he says, "as you can imagine," he said, "our switchboard lit up a couple hours ago." It must have been when you guys came to town. And it's been lit up for quite a while, but now that we know what's going on, we appreciate it. You guys have fun, be safe. And by the way, when you coming back? he he just said, "Give him a call when we're coming back." So when the calls started coming in about Red Dawn starting or whatever, that they would know what's going on. And he also wanted to come by and shoot with us. And he actually did. We went another time, and he actually, in true, this is funny. I thought it was funny at the time. I don't think it was just coincidence, but he brought a bunch of donuts and coffee and stuff. And he was a really nice guy. He was the actual sheriff, and we had a great time there. And man, I miss those days. It was so cool, and I wish I mean, I know what was there and what I shot and what it was, but today I'd have so much more an appreciation for it. There was a original German Schmeiser, looked like a bring back, but mint. I mean, really nice. It was missing a lot of bluing, but in all the right spots, it's just the real deal. Um, God, what's that gun worth today? And they belong to this gun shop. And God, we just had so much fun. And, back then, that Norinco Bakelite folder was $299. It was maybe 250 somewhere in there. And I remember you got a crate of Norinco ammo with it for free. Russian SKSs, Chinese SKSs, all that good stuff. Those were 99 bucks. There was a nicer one that my dad got that came in a box with all kinds of Russian pictures on it and stuff. But you'd walk in gun shops and there would be, 20 SKSs barrel down in a barrel basically, or a box, and you just pull them out, pick one, 75 bucks, 80 bucks. You'd negotiate always. Back then you negotiated all the time on guns. I still do. But it was a great time back then. I never had shot or remember seeing an M1 Garand back then. I remember seeing them, just nobody in our circle had any American guns. Everybody was enthralled by the imports, and we never shot any like 1903 bolt actions or Mausers or anything like that. Never had them. My dad had one friend that was a big German militaria collector, and he was German by heritage. And he was actually, I think, a Chicago police officer, and he had a huge collection of German war memorabilia, all kinds of uniforms, helmets. I remember seeing Lugers and Walthers, and he had some rifles, but most of it was militaria. The Iron Crosses and skull collar, whatever you call them, epaulets or whatever. All cases, the whole basement. Really neat stuff. And Army surplus stores back then, you'd walk in and it was real surplus. It wasn't a conglomeration of Chinese junk. There was a World War II stuff, just boxes, bins, barrels of uniforms, boots, hats, jackets, anything you wanted. And Vietnam too had ended. There was a ton of Vietnam stuff. You could get all the real fatigues and boots, boonie hats, and China wasn't bringing stuff in back then, so it wasn't like you had to worry about fakes and stuff. It was all the real deal, and it was so cheap. You could walk in with your allowance and walk out with an armload of stuff, knives and all kinds of stuff. It was just a great time, and I wish I had taken advantage of it back then. You went and bought Vietnam era woodland camo to go deer hunting, to go bow hunting. That's what I wore. That kind of stuff. Jungle boots. You wore those for, fishing, stuff like that. But so much of it and so cheap. And the guns were that cheap too. I don't remember exact prices, but I am positive that you could buy a grand for a couple $100. I'll bet 1903s were $100, maybe. SKSs were under 100. AKs, two and a quarter, 250 to 300. ARs were the expensive thing, very expensive. I don't recall what the Max and Uzis were. I never talked to my dad about that, how much they were. I could probably find receipts if I looked, but just a great time. Anyhow, that was my background in guns. So I never, when I got old enough, wasn't buying a lot of my own stuff because my dad had it, and he found a niche after all that. He never got much more into surplus stuff or even, any of the tactical stuff. He became enthralled with Colt single action pistols, and at one point was one of the larger collectors in the country of Colt single actions. Had some Gen 1s, mostly Gen 2s, but I remember going to a local big box sporting goods store, and you could still get Colt single actions new in the box. They might have 10 of them in the case, and you tell them, I want this one, I want the 4-inch 45 Colt in blue, nickel, case hardened with blue, this, that. I want a 6-inch. And they'd come walking out. My dad would buy them, it depended on what they had and what he had as this collection grew. But we walked out of there at times with as many as 10 pistols, and he collected every barrel length, every variant, every finish, every grip, one of each, and brand new in the box. So a couple select ones he would shoot, but the others were just to collect. They stayed in the box, in the vault, all stacked up, and he'd buy some special guns here and there at auctions or state sales. And he ran across one that a gentleman, he knew what it was, didn't think it was anything much, but it was I think a 4-inch 45 Colt Gen 2 nickel plated single action, fully engraved. And wherever we were, I think it was a gun show or an auction, my dad asked him if he'd remove the grip, and he did. And he looked, and there were 2 initials there, and it was EW. So my dad looked at that, kind of showed it to me. I didn't know what it was. Tightened the grip back up. Said, "What do you want for it?" I think he ended up buying that gun for about $700, which was a lot of money then. Fast forward, contacted Colt Historical Society and sent pictures and whatnot. Got a nice letter back saying that that was an original special order gun from Colt that a doctor from the North Shore of Chicago had ordered to a local hardware store, I believe, in Glenview, Illinois. It was Best Hardware or Best or something like that. It had been shipped there, and he had taken possession of it. Bottom line was, it was one of 3 guns that Alvin White had created this full engraving in his lifetime. And Alvin White was a master engraver for Colt, and the only black master engraver for Colt. So it made it pretty special. And he still has. Times got tough. Sold off a lot of them to put me through school, and he was changing careers and whatnot. And the single actions went bye-bye, but all the cool stuff that I like somehow managed to stay. And he still has that engraved gun, and it's amazing. Ivory grips, and just, it's brand new. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's probably the prettiest gun in any of my family members' collections. It's incredible. But then I got older, I got married, had my 357 for home protection, and didn't even think about guns till that day walking through the sporting goods store. We're walking through to get, I don't know, football stuff, baseball stuff, softball stuff, who knows. I see the sign, $69. I'm looking at these guns, and the stocks look kind of beat up, but the bluing and all is nice, and it's cool. I'm like, "What is that?" He's like, "Oh, let me show you." And he folds the bayonet out. I'm like, "Wow, look at that. What is it?" He's like, "It's Russian." I'm like, "Russian?" I just think AKs, you know. He's like, "Yeah, World War II, Russian Mosin Nagant." Shows me the round. I'm like, "Wow, look at the size of that." I'm like, $69? Are they used? Are they new? He's like, "Well, they're from the arsenals over there, and some might be new, some might be refitted, whatever." I forget the terms he used at the time. But I'm looking at $69. I said, "I'll take one." And I said, "You got any ammo for it?" And he says, "Yeah, I got." He always sat on the counter. My first time seeing Brown Bear ammo in the green box. And I'm like, "Huh, steel? What is this stuff?" You know, I had no idea. I had no idea. I had never seen steel case ammo before. Anyhow, get whatever the kids needed, headed home. And I think, I don't know, I spent the next few days cleaning it up, because Cosmoline, yeah, that was a thing. Holy cow. Learned all about that. And, I'm a mechanic by trade originally, and sprayed it down with some brake cleaner. And that stuff kept coming. And it was days, and there's stuff that coming off it, and looking at the stock, and the stock was terrible. It was, all the shellac was flaking off it, and my hands are covered in it. And I'm thinking, what the hell is this? I start reading, found a forum. And back then I wish I could remember the forum. I think it was a Mosin Nagant forum. But there was a lot of traffic in those days on it, because Mosins were everywhere. I come to find out at that point, they were everywhere. 9130s, M44s, M38s, 93s. They'd mix fin captures in there. Nobody, the distributors at that point didn't even know what these other guns were. They did look like a Mosin, a little different. Yeah, throw them in there, $69. So you could go and luck of the draw, they'd bring one out of the back room. You open it up and it's a fin, and you're like, holy cow, $69. Um, but I read and watched, and there wasn't nowhere near the YouTube videos on them that there are now. And I'd explain the family. I brought them to family functions to show people, and I just thought it was so amazing that I'm holding this piece of history in my hand, that it was real and it was used, and it's 1944. And I'm telling them all about it. And they had 9130s the next time I went in there, and they were, your typical, what I called, I thought that was like old man stuff. Look at how long those things are. What the hell? What do I want one of those for? That's terrible. So, like the old musket days, the damn things are so long. Shot the same round, same gun, essentially, action, everything. Just the carbines were cut down and cool. As I read more, there was also a cool website, and it had a little drawing of a little guy that was like, I think, dressed in maybe like Roman armor or something. And the character's name for this company, I think they called him Brutus or something. I wanted to say it was Classic Firearms, but it wasn't, unless, because Classic was never as small as this guy. But this guy he must have either had a source, or he went to the distributor and sorted through them all, and he pulled all the good stuff. He'd have Imperial guns, octagon barrels, 93s, maybe a rare, like a 45 or 46 or 47 M44. He'd have a lot of fin guns, tons of fin guns, and at the most, I want to say, the prices all varied depending on how it was, condition, barrel, this, that, the other. Maybe $1.25 to $200 for a fin, and you got to see it in pictures and all beforehand. I want to say it was Classic or something like that. It was a cool small website, and they'd cross him off on the website, sold, and he was part of this forum, and it was a cool website. How I can't remember is beyond me, because I was so into it. I spent days, on months, years on these websites and forums, and for the life of me, if I started messing around on my old computer, maybe there's some password saved or something, and I could find it, but I just can't remember. It's so long ago, so many guns ago, so many collections ago. Then I went to SKSs and AKs and on and on. But at that point, my world was consumed by Mosin guns. I knew everything there was to know, production numbers, this, that, the other. And it was so much fun. So the first time I shot it was winter. And we had a field out back of our house, about 10 acres, with a tree line and clear shooting. You could shoot all you wanted. But it was cold and it was winter, but our basement wasn't finished. So I used to open the sliding glass door, and I had a chair and like an old desk, and I would shoot from inside my house, barrel out, of course. But I'd shoot down there and put a target out 100 yards, whatever, and shoot all day and stay warm inside. It was pretty loud upstairs if you were in the kitchen. Uh, so, after a while, my wife would yell down, say, hey, cut it out for a while. But when I got that M44, I think I put one round through it, and it was about dusk, and I chambered one round. I wasn't familiar with it. I had shot a Remington 700 bolt action before, but the bolts were stiff and hard to chamber because I didn't know how to clean them well enough of all the dried on cosmoline. Anyhow, I managed to get a round in, and boom, and the fireball. I swear I thought something was wrong with the gun. I'm like, oh my God, did it blow up? Did what the hell? I thought even, I got at that point had a neighbor down a ways, but uh, still close enough that I thought, oh my God, he's going to think, what the heck's going on? I slid the door shut, and that was it till I went to the range. But I went to the range with it, and then Christmas morning, I had bought myself a M38 for myself, and I bought my son his first 22. So, of course, what's a little boy want to do Christmas morning? Shoot his 22. And we go down in the basement, same thing. He's in his pajamas, so we're standing just inside the door. And I bought some little targets and stuff, swinging targets and crap. And he's shooting up a storm, and I let 5 rounds go out of the M38. And then I hear somebody yelling from over at the fence line. Hey, guys, could you put the guns down for a minute? That's my neighbor. I didn't know the guy from Adam, but I said, sure. And I walk over there. He says, it's illegal to shoot out here. I said, oh, it is, huh? I said, no, it's not. He said, yeah, it is. You can't shoot in a subdivision. I looked at him. I said, well, I don't live in a subdivision. So, oh, yeah, this is a subdivision. I said, well, you may live in a subdivision, but I don't. My property backed up to 3 houses on that side they were in a subdivision. I was not. I was zoned to agricultural. It's farmland. I could do whatever I want. So I'm kind of listening, going along with him. And I said, here, stop. It's not illegal for me to shoot here. I'm zoned ag. I can shoot all I want. Well, you can't be within such and such of the house. I said, I'm not. Well, you can't shoot toward. I said, I'm not. Well, if you were hunting and a bird, I said, who's hunting? And even if I was, yes, I could still shoot. Well, there's a noise ordinance. No, stop. There's no noise ordinance. You have a noise ordinance. I am zoned ag. There is no noise ordinance. I could shoot all day long, 24 hours a day, and there's nothing you could do about it. The guy was just being a jerk, and he had a history earlier the summer before with us. So the only time he contacted you was when he had a problem with something or someone. Anyhow, I told him, I said, look, it's Christmas morning. I get it. People don't want to hear gunfire. But this little boy here just got his first 22. He wanted to shoot it. Now we're going to go in the house and we're going to get ready for company and dinner. And that's that. So if you hear shooting, we're just shooting out here. I promise you, your house is safe. You're safe. We'll come nowhere near this and that. Come spring, he's out there. He'd call the cops. So I don't know, a couple of times a week. It was either the kids racing on their motocross track out back or the guns. And finally, he'd lie. He'd say the kids cut through his back property. So I brought the cop over there to the barbed wire fence, and I said, you find the break here and tell me how the kids went through his yard over there. Cop walked up and down, no break. Complimented us on the kids being all geared up and everything for riding. Said, I'll be right back. I'm going to stop this once and for all. So he came back, said, have fun. Everything's good. You're legal. Everything's good. He goes, I told him next call I come out here, he's going to jail. He said, I told him that he lied and this and that and whatever. So anyhow, never had another problem with him. But then they built a house behind me, 10 acres back, behind a tree line. I could still shoot, but in my mind, there's always that what if, and I would never risk that. The irony of it is the guy that built the house back there, he put in a range and he shoots. So I couldn't shoot anymore there, but it was good while it lasted anyhow. So yeah, that's the M44. And I just it was a combo of, I mean, it was a bolt action. It wasn't all that cool, when you think of cool guns and, you want ARs, AKs, that kind of stuff. But something about the folding bayonet, the big round, the accessories that came with it, the smell of it, the cosmoline, the history I found online in the community, and all the variants that you could collect, and you could collect them so cheap. For $690, you could start a 10 rifle collection of M44s, 9130s, 38s, whatever, Finn rifle maybe, for under $700. Well, I buy in 1 a week, 2 a week, 10 a week, 10 a day, whatever. And I get to be pretty good friends with the guy behind the counter. There's a younger guy. He managed the gun counter. And he would eventually let me go in the back room where they had them all stacked up. And I'd open the end. They were already open, the end flap of the boxes, because they checked them in, whatever. And I'd slide them out, see what they were. If it wasn't nothing I wanted, I slid it back in. But hex receivers, big Imperial crests, ex-snipers, lots of ex-snipers. I had a penchant for ex-snipers. So I think I still have 3 or 4 of those. Tulas and Izzy's, just all kinds of cool stuff. I wish I had been into the 9130s more and bought more of the hexes and kept more of them. I don't sell very many guns, but I had so many of these things that, and the 9130s never really turned me on much. I've got 3 or 4, maybe 5, 9130s, 3 ex-snipers, and the rest are just different things that I liked. But I have another, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 10 in the box that I have not opened, that I just bought when they had a sale. They went to $99. I was pissed. I said, I'm not buying anymore. Are they nuts? $99 for these things? I am not buying anymore. Out of principle. And well, I broke down, and one day they had a sale like $79, and I bought a bunch of them. And I told myself I'm going to be like a grab bag, and they're still sitting in the closet. Haven't opened them, but one day we'll see what those are, and I'll do an unboxing video. How's that? But you saw the video. You'll see a bunch more. We'll shoot 9130s. I love M38s. I think those are such great guns, because without the bayonet on there, they're very maneuverable, light, just a neat rifle. All the fun of the M44 without the weight, but it does lack the coolness of the folding bayonet. And as a matter of fact, they didn't even have bayonets. The front sight is too close to the end of the barrel to put a bayonet on. Little known fact, most people think M38s and M44s, like you saw in the video, are the exact same rifle, except got a folding bayonet, right? There's a lot of differences in them. The biggest difference is the M44 has a longer barrel. Everyone thinks they're 20-inch barrels, right? Well, they are on an M38. They're about 20 and a half inches on the M44, so the bayonet will go over the end. So a little bit different. M44 stock has a cutout groove for the bayonet to fold in, and you'll see some M38s now and then that were restocked when they were re-arsenaled, and they're wearing M44 stocks. What else is different? M38s I got to draw on the memory bank. They may have a low wall receiver as opposed to the high wall. I can't remember. But just cool, nice guns. You saw the beautiful shellac in that video. And some of you guys may have seen some of my shellac videos on how to apply it. Some of you may have seen my write-up on AK files on how to do it. And I used to sell, I do stock sets, AK stock sets. People would send me Mosin Nagant stocks. I do them. SKS stocks, not shellac, but other finishes. Sometimes Chinese ones, shellac finish, but uh, I got pretty darn good at it and did a lot of them. I had at some points I had work backed up for over a month, but shellac takes a little time the way I do it. Most guys would just either brush it on, or if you're doing a assembly line sort of deal where you're trying to crank it out commercially, they'll spray it. But the spray looks too factory. Um, the brushing is probably the most realistic if that's what you're going for, because you guys have seen them. There's brush marks. They go over the bluing. The shellac on the butt plate, shellac on the cross bolt heads, shellac on the ferrules on the top handguard and whatnot. They were not neat, and they were not artists when they did it. Some of them, I think, they actually just dunked, Nor did they clean the oil or grease out of the barrel channel and all the dirt. They would just dunk them right like that. And a lot of them, the shellac is just burned in, and there's so much crud and cosmoline. Um, I like that particular stock. I wanted that gun. I was a newbie. I wanted it to look uh, new, and to me, new was perfect, smooth, nice. But it was a good experience. And some guys are, oh, it's terrible, it's ruined, I don't want it. Well, M44 stocks are still a dime a dozen, so I have a few put away. A really nice one with a nice cartouche and stuff that I could put on it. This stock did not have a cartouche. Had some nicks and this and that. Had the re-arsenal marks, which I saved. I didn't get rid of any markings, but I did smooth it out. And I wanted that Russian red. Well, back then you do a RIT dye is what most people were using. But RIT changed the formula some years back, quite a few years back already. Used to be you could dig around and find some of the old stuff that worked well, and you can still get it to work, but not. It's a bigger pain in the ass. Anyhow, you could use anything from food coloring to iodine and everything in between. We used to use red Kool-Aid packs, the little flavor packs, not that you had to add sugar to, not the stuff with sugar, just the flavor pack. And you put the shellac in there. I'd always thin it with denatured alcohol, and or I'd mix the Kool-Aid with the denatured alcohol and then mix that with it. It works really well. It's just dye. It's in there. It works great. But it gets really red, right? And you put it on and it soaks in. And I sometimes I used to stain them depending on the look the customer wanted. Another good thing to do is use stain to dye the shellac. That works well. But it does take it dries differently and it takes longer. But I had a mixture that was two different stains, the red Kool-Aid, and my final mix that I came up with that most people wanted done had iodine in it too. And I'd hang them from the rafters in the unfinished basement where we lived, and I would brush on a coat with a foam brush if they wanted a perfect one like that gun in the video, and let it dry, and probably get two coats, maybe three on before I'd hit it with steel wool, smooth it out like glass, even if that meant wearing through almost all of it. But you'd smooth it out like glass and then apply it a coat, smooth it out with steel wool the next morning, another coat, next morning steel wool, until you got however many coats it took to get it dark enough to where you wanted it. So it was a long process because shellac doesn't dry fast. And the more coats you get on, the ones underneath aren't completely cured. So it can be soft for a long time. I would tell people however many weeks, 6, 8 weeks. And the gun may have been done 4 days after I got it. but it would stay here hanging and curing for 5 or 6 weeks because I found out quick and early that I'd send them back. The guy would, and I'd warn them that it could be soft. They'd put them together and they'd go to the range, and I don't know what the hell they did with a bolt action, but man, they must have been ripping rounds because uh, it would start to cure the shellac up on either the handguard or the very front tip of the barrel or of the stock, and it would start to bubble. And then when it did cure, the bubbles would be there, but hard, right? And rough. So a couple of people were bitching, and one guy sent it back. I redid it. All it took was literally steel wool just to smooth out the bubbles, and it was like fine. So I'd warn people if they wanted to shoot it while it was uncured that may happen, and here's the solution. If it was horrible, like the guy really, I don't know what they did to him, but um, you could take some denatured alcohol with the steel wool, and it softens it just enough to smooth it, and then it recures, and you're fine. Shellac is extremely forgiving. You can, it's the easiest finish to fix on any stock. If you're building a rifle or putting together some sporterized milsurp or redoing a milsurp, if the gun was done in shellac originally and you want original, that's great. Awesome. Easy finish to apply. Not hard once you learn it. And it's super easy. If you want to use it on something else that didn't have shellac originally, try it. You'll like it. It's if you bang it up, a hunting gun or something, it's the easiest thing to fix. You'll never know the mark was there. So it's good for that. Not the most durable, but easy to fix. And a beautiful finish. It's very warm, very nice. So I ended up doing that rifle in it. And it's got one scratch in the side that I haven't fixed. But that it fell over in a safe or something. But that, and I have an M38 done very nicely like that as well. The rest of my stuff's all factory or arsenal refurbs, that kind of thing. But those two shooters that I have, I like them that way. I like the way they look. They're not even the color they were back in the day, but I just like them. And yeah, that led to sustaining a lot of some of the hobby I do, just redoing those, and led to gunsmithing classes and all kinds of stuff. So I owe a lot to the old shit stick, as James Reeves says. He anytime he's doing a Mosin Nagant video, he refers to them as the shit stick. And frankly, he's right. I messed around for a long time developing a trigger job for those things. Just trying to make it better. There's nothing to it. If you're not a gunsmith, I don't suggest you mess with it. But you can get a Mosin trigger pretty darn good. But stock, yeah, not so much. They have more creep than any other rifle on the planet. They can be extremely gritty. Over travel is enormous. Unpredictable. They're crap. They really are. They're expedited. Wartime guns, you look at a barrel, they ran it through the lathe once. You see all the marks down. It's unbelievable. They were pumping them out so fast. You take a look at an Russian Imperial gun versus, a 43 or so. Oh my God. What a difference. Birch stocks, Arctic birch, you can find some. The Finnish Arctic birch stocks are absolutely gorgeous. You get that modeling that the Arctic birch has. That's also where a lot of guys, there's a train of thought on where Russian red came from, right? Whether it's on AKs, Nagants, whatever. I have a gorgeous uh, Arctic birch stocked Russian SKS with the mottled Arctic birch and a very red finish. That's an actual Russian red. Um, and people always wondered, well, why were the Russian guns more red? Chinese have that blonde or orange, very orangish, iodine color. Well, I've heard all the stories. I've looked at them. I've removed finishes. I've tried to duplicate them. Years of doing this, right? The best story that makes the best sense or most sense, and I think is the right story, and there's still a product today that there's one comes out of Russia, and I can't remember where the other one comes out of. But Russians, being as utilitarian as they are and using everything, right? Not letting anything go to waste. At some of the camps or um, maybe military bases, whatever, in Siberia or in the north, there's a story that when they clean the either for some of the factories or maybe laundries or whatever, the smokestacks, that the creosote in there is what they used, because they used pine, that they were surrounded by pine forests, and that's what they burnt in these uh, either ovens or factories or even maybe fireplaces or boilers for heat. And they would get all this pitch out of, because it was not seasoned. They'd get all this pine pitch out of the um, chimneys. And when you take um, that creosote from that pine and start to break it down with like an alcohol, denatured alcohol, you see the red, and it's that dark red. And the real Russian red has a lot of black in it too. And when you break down pine creosote like that, that's the color you get. And they think they either maybe put it on the stocks for protection, the pine pitch, maybe to protect from the elements, and then the shellac or mixed with the shellac. It's perfect. There's a company that sells this pine pitch. One's out of Russia. One is either US or Canadian. I can't remember. But it's for doing fences and things like that. And you buy the pitch in a 2-gallon bucket, and you can do fences with it. They tell you how to thin it and all this stuff. And that's the color. There it is. And that's where I think it came from. I think they used that creosote and pitch, and that's where the red comes from, and why it's kind of reserved to Russia there. So that's my theory. I've heard it from other people that had some backup knowledge to it, whether that was somebody at those factories, whatever. I don't even recall anymore, but it makes complete total sense. It is an absolute dead ringer for it. It works easy and fabulous, and it works with shellac. And I guarantee you, if I was a betting man, that's what it is. If anyone's interested in that product, the modern product, let me know, and I got it written down somewhere. I have a bucket of it somewhere. It's an interesting product. It's like creosoting a railroad tie, I guess, kind of protects it, right? And they sell it for fences. It's cool stuff. Anyhow, yeah, went on to collect these things. $99. I quit buying them. I was done collecting before they went any higher than that. So I don't own a single Mosin that I paid more than $99 for. And guys say, well, you can't do that today. Look at AKs. That's why I got into AKs, because they were cheap. 10 years ago, a guy could buy a Wasser for, probably $4.99, maybe in the threes or low fours, $4.50 maybe. But 10 years ago, for sure, in the 400 range. And you could most certainly 10 years ago get Yugo AKs, M70s for $500. I had a kind of a standing rule that I never paid more than $500 for a Yugo AK for the longest time. The Wassers were the cheapest. Yugos were next. Arsenals were the stamped guns, $6.99, $7.99. I think my cheapest Sam was $800, something like that, new. What else? Those were considered expensive. A Krebs Custom was like $1,300, $1,500, somewhere in there. Then they went up, but like everything else. But what else? I'm trying to think. Yeah, M70 AB2s new 10, 12 years ago were $3.99. It was $3.99. And I bought a ton of them under $500. I loved those guns, and I wanted one for each family member. And I never paid over $500 for one. The NPAPs, you could routinely find new $4.99 to into the fives maybe. And when NPAPs were going out, you could get deals at the Farm and Fleets of the world and stuff. Wassers were everywhere for, prior to the blonde wood, commercial, a little bit nicer Wassers. Yeah, they were dirt cheap. Those deals are still out there, guys. They're just not $3.99, $200. At the highest, SKSs went to $199 back then. And guys would laugh if you paid $199 for them. But those deals are out there. It's just, what's the word I'm looking for? It's relative, okay? Let's face it, this new inflation, this reset that I talked about coming for 2 years now, well, it happened. The reset happened. It's a 40 to 50% reset on just about everything. RVs prices are up 50%, 40% on just about any towable RV. 40% price increase happened almost overnight. One day I was getting them in for $12,000, and the next shipment the next day, that same trailer came in at $16,900, $17,000 the next day, same trailer. Motorhomes. A motorhome, my personal motorhome listed for $125,000 new. Right now, that same motorhome, identical motorhome, newer year, obviously, is now $250,000. Mine's only a couple of years old. $250,000. It's double. Well, there was a reset, but what did it do to those older products? Just because I paid, and I didn't pay anywhere near that, guys. I don't have that kind of money. But if you want to know about RVs, it's easy. I can tell you how to buy one really cheap. Go to an RV dealer, whatever the MSRP is, offer them 60% of that. Okay? You'll go home with an RV. Anyhow, that $125,000 RV versus the $250,000, It's not, it would have been had things stayed the same. Maybe it was worth 70 now, something like that, or 60. I don't know. It's now worth MSRP of what it was originally or more. So they adjusted, things adjusted, commodities adjusted, vehicles adjusted, homes adjusted, things you can hold adjusted, new and used. So that was a good thing. If your money's in things, stuff, it caught up or stayed. If your money was in cash, paper dollars, stocks, things like that, not so much. If you could have taken your entire retirement account and put it into stuff, not all stuff, but most stuff, you would have done pretty good probably. Anyhow, that resets happened. So with guns now, it's relative. Okay, used prices have went up, but the new prices on guns have not. Yes, they've went up compared to 12 years ago. However, this recent thing, there's a surplus of firearms out there right now, new firearms. Used as well. You're seeing a lot come in from the big buying panics. And there's just a glut of firearms out there. Ammo hasn't caught up completely yet, but the firearms have. And the used guns have increased what the new guns have, and they've come back down somewhat. Guns are still a deal. They may not be what you were used to, but relative, they're still cheap stuff to collect. Well, and you say, well, what? AKs, yeah, the price has soared, but $8.99 for a ZPAP is not a bad deal. You say, well, I don't see them under 1,000. Look around, you can find them. You can find them. Wassers, still a great deal. There's a lot of kits out there still. Pretty good deals. Yeah, they're expensive, but relative to other things and relative to some of the starting wages I'm seeing and different things, uh, they're not all that shabby. I paid about $1,000 for my Grand. Well, if you look hard enough, you can find $1,000 Grands still. Are they more money than a $69 Mosin? Yeah. But want to get into collecting SKSs? You still get SKSs if you look hard enough, 500 range, maybe a little less. ARs. It is the time of the AR. What AKs used to be, ARs are now. So buy ARs. Start finding some kits that were military guns and put together some clones. Those are going to be worth money. Buy some Colts, even though we could talk about that. They're not the same Colts, this, that. They're still going to be worth something because one day they're not going to be what they are today. Um, there's so many good guns out there. ARs, dirt cheap. There's a lot of stuff out there. Look for unique things, different stuff. Might not even be that popular right now, but look for unique things with quality, build quality materials. Um, you know, look at what early Glocks are doing. There's new pistols coming out all the time. There's things that are developing niches. Believe it or not, I'm thinking Keltec and a lot of their stuff one day might be worth some money. You want to do military stuff? You're going to spend a little more. A lot of the IWI stuff is nifty, and not even a lot of that's not around. You can find X95s, but you're not finding SARs as much. I think they're still making them, but they may have discontinued them. But last I looked, they were making them, or they're still out there. There's a lot of things, but ARs are so cheap, and there's good stuff out there. Buy the good stuff. Buy what you can afford. 1903s aren't a ton of money. You want to get into bolt actions? A lot of the Mausers, set me's Sepmies are cool. Um, there's so much stuff out there. Um, Swiss guns, a lot of money. Yeah. There's something for every taste, but there's still affordable stuff out there. Um, there's a lot of unique, cheapy shotguns out there. Who knows what happens? Maybe they ban Turkish imports of shotguns. Well, there's a few that are really good and recognized, like the VR80. I'll bet those VR80s are worth some money one day. Uh, guys will remember them. The stuff you're buying today, if you're in your early 20s, wait till you hit your late 40s or 50s. The stuff that's everyday today will be completely collectible then. The stuff you think is cool now, but maybe not super special, is going to be very collectible. It goes by age bracket, guys, too. When guys in their 20s have cool stuff, or there's cool stuff around that they could have bought but didn't, all of a sudden, when they hit that late 40s, early 50s, their career's stable, their family's stable, they got money now. Now they can afford to buy the toys they had cheap back when they were younger. So all of a sudden the price soars. My age group, upper 50s, low 60s, those shitbox 70s Trans Ams, look at what they're doing now. Some are over 100 grand. My high school car, they're bringing over 100 grand all day long for a 70 and a half Trans Am. I paid 2 grand for it. Look for the cool stuff that's neat now, but every day. Okay. If you want history, well, the plain truth of that is that milsurp is drying up, and there's not many different variants or platforms that can come in anymore because they're all select fire, right? The days of bolt action or semi-automatic being used by militaries is gone. But there may be a few niches out there. I'd have to think. It's got to be a few military semi-automatic guns. I don't know. You can find something. You just got to dig a little deeper. Have a little forethought. Yeah, what are guys gonna think is cool now? What do you think now? Look back, if you're in your 20s, look back at what you thought were super cool toys when you were 8 and 10 years old, 12 years old. Buy them and put them away. That's how you got to look at the gun market. It all comes back. And you'll be happy you have it if you were one of the few guys that saved that stuff, because we all trade up, right? Or get rid of to get something else. Hang on to those things. Buy an extra one, put it away. Worst case scenario, let's say you tell all your friends, I am going to corner the market on Kel-Tecs. On what are they, S2000s or whatever that thing is. I'm going to corner the market. I'm going to buy every color, every option. I'm going to leave them brand new in the box, put them in the closet, forget about them. Your buddies would all laugh at you, right? This guy's nuts. Wait till you're 48, 49, 52. Tell me about that Kel-Tec. I'm not saying Kel-Tec in general or even that model, but I do have a sneaking suspicion. They make a lot of cool stuff. Look at the, what's that semi-automatic tuna fish gun that ejects out the front. Is that made by Beretta? Maybe. Nobody bought the goddamn thing. Nobody wanted it. And look at what those things are doing now. Crazy, 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 crazy. KG9 Inner Dynamics, dirt cheap, wore out just from shooting them semi-automatic. If you shot enough rounds through it, and I'm not talking a boatload, I'm talking 1,500 rounds. All of a sudden, the gun wore out, started doubling on you. Then maybe you get a triple, and then it shoot fine for a while, and then all of a sudden, brrr, they were shit boxes. They wore out. Now, look at the price of those things. Just because they were cool, they were different. You know, look at stuff like that. It may or may not have a history, of military use. Doesn't mean it's not cool. Makarovs came in the country. You buy them all day long under $100. East German, the finest ones out there, and now they're bringing 600, 700. Some even more for an East German. The Bulgarian ones were 99 or 199, and now they're $600. Just 4 years later. Um, it's crazy. It's crazy. Wait till you see what Mosin Nagans go to one day. I mean, right now, what do you pay for one? I don't even know. I haven't looked at the market. 400 for a decent M44, maybe. Well, that's a hell of that's an impressive move. $69 to that. It won't be long. They're 800 and then 1200 because those guns get put away and stay put away. They don't come out. The guys get older, families, not as much range time, different things, and they sit in a safe for 30 years and they don't come out. You don't see them at the gun shops as much. It seems like there's none out there. It's not because there isn't any out there. There's lots of them out there. They're just forgotten about because they were so cheap, right? Well, all of a sudden, those guys start dying off. The family starts bringing them out, and guys are grabbing them up, bidding wars, right? And the prices are going up. Wait till you see what Grands do in M1 carbines, and man, it'll get even crazier because there will be less and less and less. Grandpa has one. He passes away, and the granddaughter Susie inherits the estate. She opens the closet, finds Granddad's Mint Grand, and maybe a SP1, and a few other, maybe a Colt Python. And she doesn't like guns. Nope, she don't like guns. And her local police department's having a buyback. And there goes 3 gorgeous collectible guns down the tubes. One less makes yours worth more, right? I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just telling you how things happen. So just buy. Just buy. Don't be afraid. Don't say, oh, look at these prices. That's out of sight. They're not out of sight. There's a lot of things out of sight. Guns, not so much. Ammo, yeah, I agree. Way out of sight. That one burns me. But the firearms, not out of sight. There's just a lack of that cheap surplus. But they're still inexpensive, quality, collectible things. So, is that enough on that? Have you had enough? We're an hour and 18 minutes in, and I haven't even went through the chat. I started to. I got to Joe, and that was it. So Joe's in here. Joe was in the video earlier today when we did a premiere and a little chat. I was at work, so I really couldn't be involved in the chat. But you guys looked like you were having a good time over there. So if you ever get an announcement from us that there's a premiere, you can go in there. It's not a live stream like this, but you can chat right alongside here, just like it was a live stream, and ask questions about that particular brand new video, whatever. So it's kind of cool. Hey guys, keep in mind that this channel is completely self-funded. Our videos don't get monetized like they used to. We are reliant on you guys, our fans, to help us out, which keeps the ammo flowing and all the other good stuff. Every penny that comes in goes into bringing you something new, doing another video, getting some new stuff to show you, whatever the case may be. And you can do a super chat down there right where you type. You can click on that dollar sign and put in any amount from 1 penny to $1 million. A lot of guys is put in 7.62. That's cool, right? AK round or 5.56 or so. Whether it's a penny or $1 million, we appreciate it all. Thank you very much. It helps out tremendously, and thank you for coming to watch us talk about whatever subjects it is to talk about. I got off on a tangent about the Mosin and how I got into things and what influenced my collecting and what you see from the channel today. That's what that M44 video was about, because it was the first one that got me back into it. And it was awesome. And I wanted you guys to know how awesome it is. And hopefully you got into it in a similar fashion. You know, a relative introduced you. Maybe you saw something you had to have. So tell us what your stories are. Maybe go into that M44 video and leave a comment about how you got into it, or right here. Somebody left us a super chat here. Martin Co, $20, dude. Thank you so much. It is so appreciated. We appreciate it. And it comes back to you guys, I promise you. Let's get into chat, because that's a cool thing about these live streams. I try to talk about what you guys want to talk about. I try to answer your questions and talk about what's on your mind. And that's what kind of personalizes it, I guess. I don't like to have big topics, and we're going to go over 19 tickety 2 AR-27s today. No, we don't do that. I do get a bit long-winded on my old stories. So, but I think you guys like them. A lot of people have told me they like them. Not too many, I guess, because I'd have more subscribers, but what the hell? Can't please everybody, right? Somebody told me once, if you're going to have a successful YouTube channel, you be you. Don't try to imitate somebody else's channel. Don't try to do what they do. Do what you do and be comfortable with it. That's all. I've always been kind of a storyteller. So, and by that, I don't mean a bullshitter. I mean, I enjoy telling detailed stories and trying to give my wife says, "Oh my God, it's mind numbing how detailed you are." Well, that's because she's heard them all 80 million times. But I try to set the stage and let people get a feeling for what it was like, whether that was the smells, the feel, the whatever. I just like to try and bring people into the story that I'm so excited about to tell, because it was fun. That's all. Chase Kelly is here. Hopefully you guys are still here by the time I get to the bottom of the chat. I don't know. But it's always good to see Chase. Long time subscriber and long time listener. He's heard a lot of my stories over the years we've been doing this now. Oh man, it just went all the way down on me. We're not too big, so we can get through these chats these comments here pretty quick. Joe said, "Good to see you, Chase." Joe, we're okay. Yeah, let's see how your dad. How's Joe's dad? We got Joe's dad to report here. We okay here. My dad's had a UTI. That might be too much information. uh, Even my mom wants to strangle him. This sounds so familiar, Joe. A damn monster, but he's healing. So, for you longtime folks, I'll chime in, then we'll get back to guns here. But I have my daughter's wedding, so everybody's in town. If my mom and dad are listening, and it's all in good fun. That's all. So, most people come a day before the wedding, 2 days before, get a hotel, this and that. Now, I don't expect my parents to get a hotel. They have got a guest room and all. They stay here all the time when they're passing through, whatever, and they're welcome all the time. But they are a bit protective of it. They've come to consider it their room, and their stuff. And God forbid anybody else stay in it. So I'll tease them all the time when they're not here. Oh, yeah, so-and-so stayed, came for the weekend. Oh, really? Where'd they sleep? Oh, in the bedroom, downstairs. What? They lose their mind. They won't play it off to me, but I know they're losing their mind, so it's fun. Anyhow, most people get here a day or two early. Well, my parents got here 2 weeks early to make sure that my wife's parents didn't get the room, or my brother didn't get the room, or whatever. 2 weeks. Now, like Joe, my dad is getting older. He's got a lot of health issues. He's had 2 heart valves, cancer, bladder cancer, diabetes, what else? Ton of stuff. Incontinence, all this stuff, right? So, and he's starting to have some memory issues for quite a while now. So it can be perfectly normal 1 minute, and then he gets tired and things start to slow down and things get crazy and a lot of screaming and yelling and crazy stuff going on. And you can imagine trying to get him ready in a tuxedo for the wedding and everything. And bridesmaids running around and naked fathers running around. And it was loads of fun. And it went on for 2+ weeks. And they stayed 3, 4, 5 days after the wedding. Yeah, so I had the day after wedding, I had to get everybody airports trips, multiple trips, different airports, this and that. I thought I could relax when it was over. Me and my wife had to drive all the way down to Chicago to drop some people at O'Hare. So the best thing was when it was all over, I didn't even ask. I just drove over there. I pulled into Superdog Drive-In. I ordered 2 hot dogs with everything, and we sat there in silence and ate the most magnificent hot dog in the world. And I was the happiest guy in the world. And then we drove home. It was wonderful. And then I had to leave for Indiana the next day for 4 days and walk my tail around through 8,000 motorhomes. Anyhow, it was a rough couple of weeks, but I get it, Joe. I get it, man. It's hard. God has a very special place for us because of this. Anyhow, Dixie Livens here. We're always happy to see them. They're awesome. They've been here a long time and always fun and always contributing good stuff. Good to see you. I'll throw a couple pictures up in maybe Instagram or maybe one of those shorts on YouTube, or maybe just in my next video, put up some of the wedding pictures. You get to see The Rock in a tuxedo looking pretty damn good, I might add. Very James Bondish, but better looking in a more rugged way, I don't know. No, it was cool. It's a great time. Sad to see my little baby go. But man, my daughter was absolutely gorgeous. My youngest daughter, her maid of honor, just phenomenally beautiful. My wife, even my mother, my God, we had makeup artists. This was a very, very expensive wedding. And I mean, ridiculous. Like any celebrity would have been proud of this wedding. And we had hairstylists come in and makeup artists, 2 hairstylists, makeup artists, this huge mansion everybody stayed in the night before, and absolutely incredible. She got a fairy tale wedding. She really did. That's what she wanted. That's what I gave her. At the end, guys, none of it means squat, except how happy your family and your children are. That's all that matters, without making them spoiled brats, which they're not. Anyhow, let's see. It was a ton of fun. Thank goodness I was having withdrawals, Dixie. I know Joe was. I knew a few people would, but I needed that guy. I had no time. I was so exhausted for 2 days. I mean, exhausted, like hospital exhausted, I thought. And I'm still not all there yet. This week's been rough. Next week will be better. MZ is here. Rabbit Hole Reviews. He made it. He was in our preview earlier on the Mosin Nagant M44. He saw that. Cool vid on the Moe's Nugget. Yeah. AKA the shit stick. They really are. Those guns should not garner the attention they do, because they're so crude. And when you take them apart and look at the triggers and they're just rough. I mean, they were pounding them out, trying to win the patriotic war, right? Spent about 900, but well worth it. What to say? Rock, thanks for the heads up on custom com block with a set on by Sam 5. Ended up picking up iodine orange for the Sam 5 and Russian rust for the Sam 7. Just something about wood on an AK. Thanks again. No problem, man. There were a lot more choices before with Ironwood and all, but I heard he died or closed the company or something. But these guys look like they're making really nice stuff. They got border guard green too. So if you're into that stuff, yeah, I agree. Wood looks great. Um, some guns, and you know what? If you got a collection, buy wood, you put it on, you leave it on for 6 months, a year, you change it out. It's not like the gun's like that forever. Just never throw out your original parts ever, or the boxes. Save the boxes. You want a collection? Save the boxes. 30% more value with the box. Um, Actually, right outside here, I am in the process of organizing all my boxes. The boxes take up more room than the collection does, but you got to keep them. And all the accessories and booklets too. Make sure you keep them. Yeah, $900 for wood. I know they're a lot of money, but I kind of prefer taking surplus wood. Like I love my Bulgarians with Bakelite handguards, um, and like a Polish fatty. I wish there was a nice looking Bulgarian Bakelite grip, but there isn't. I got that salmon stock on the one with the Bakelite grip and all, or Bakelite handguard. And I just love the Bakelite handguards. I pulled another rifle out of the back of the safe while I was doing the 744, and that was a SAM 7R, the non-folding stock. And I have a Bulgarian Bakelite handguard on it, upper and lower. I have a Polish fatty Bakelite grip on it, but I have the stock polymer black stock on it. I need a wooden laminate Bulgarian milled stock. Anybody can help me out with one. I had that gun done. I planned on buying one or finding one, and I just forgot about it. So it's sitting there. I'd like to finish it with a wood stock. So if anybody's got one they want to get rid of or got an extra one, let me know. I would be appreciative, and then we'll bring a video on it too. Yeah, if you guys are looking for really nice, high quality wood, well finished, beautiful, for a range toy or something you're going to hang on the wall or whatever, or shoot a shooter too. That uh, Comblock Customs, nice stuff. They're not cheap though. AK Old Schools here. Installed the new KUSA CMC 2.0 drop-in trigger in my converted Sega 223 today. Dropped right in, no issues, 2.5 pounds. Pull, I think I like them better than that. Really? Oh, man, that's saying something. I know you're like me. I mean, the ALG is a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous trigger. In some cases, it can take a little setting up, but at best, or at worst, it's putting the pin in and filing that pin to the right length to make the safety work properly and safely. At worst case, and only once have I had to do this, I had to remove a lot of metal on the hook because it wouldn't clear the bolt carrier on a Yugo end cap. But that's the most I've ever had to do. I used both ALG Ultimates and the regular ALG. Frankly, when it comes down to it, the pull is pretty close. I've got some that, because the AK varies. The trigger doesn't vary, but the AK varies. You may have a tiny difference in distance in pins or something in the same model gun. You take a SLR 107, 3 guns, put the same ALG trigger in it, and each one's going to feel a little bit different. Not always, but quite often. I've proved it many times over. Some will have super, super short reset, and others will be just a hair longer. For the most part, though, the Ultimate is smoother. Usually a hair lighter, but a lot of guys think they're too light, way too light, some guys say. It does come with a little extra spring to stiffen it up if you want. Don't judge it right away. Shoot the gun a while, get used to it. Once you get used to it, you will be much faster, and it'll teach you to have better trigger control and recoil control too. There's nothing wrong with ALG triggers. There's nothing wrong with the base trigger. Those are uh, about the same, 2.5 to 3.5 pounds, depending. And the biggest difference between the Ultimate and the regular one is the Ultimate has a shorter reset, but great triggers. So when AK Old School here is saying that KUSA 2.0 drop-in trigger is awesome. They make just one trigger, one drop-in, do they? I like drop-in trigger. Is it like a cassette trigger, like an AR or something, where you just put the pins in and it's good to go? With everything self-contained somehow? I haven't seen one. I didn't know they were making one. I'm getting to the point where maybe I should buy a KUSA. I like them. Not a ton of imports I need to grab. There are, but I keep putting that off because there's other stuff in front of it. But man, what nice guns. They really are. Good stuff. Let's see. Squeaky Cooler is here in the house. Hello, all fell asleep. You fall asleep every week. It's the same story every week. That's okay. I'm not yelling at you. Sleep good. Fire good. We men are very easy to please. Fire, warm food, warm body, and sleep. You're good. Let's see. Fell asleep, just woke up and noticed it was after 9 and live stream already in progress. Yes, it is. What do you guys think of that little blue light back there? Pretty cool. Looks good. Got the red above, purple. I got to move that over though so you guys can see it, or get a couple more. I should tell you a story behind that damn thing. What a ripoff. Rabbit Hole Reviews picked up a Taurus Model 82 and 38 Special. Nice little pistola. Not bad. Carried one rabbit, the 82B4 and 85. I ran into a Mossberg M2A1 shotgun the other day, and I was very, very tempted. I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say it. Anyhow, because I got that retrograde, and I got a video. I'm going to run a video tonight. Maybe if it's short enough, I can get it out to you guys tonight. I did an upgrade on the Mossberg retrograde. So the two things that really bug me on that gun is, and they say it's God, I'm losing my mind, and I can't grab it right now. Anyways, I thought it was just like the military, just they put wood on it, right? But nope, plastic safety, plastic trigger guard. That bugs the hell out of me. I found a company, cheap company, and there's tons of them made in China too. They're just aluminum CNC crap, but they don't need to be great. The safeties. You can get them in purple, orange, yellow. Obviously, I got it in black, but this one has a little higher raised where your thumb goes. Man, is it nice. It bolted right on. It was like $10 on Amazon. Really, really cool. Now I just got to get a trigger guard for it, and it's up to what the A1 is, except for the heavy barrel. But yeah, I thought the gun was the same. I thought it was an A1. It's kind of how they made it out to be. And that's, matter of fact, in every video I saw, and even their brochure, they made note of the plastic on the 500, but on this they did not. So I thought it was the same, and that's not right. They should point that out. But anyhow, got to bring a video on it. Easy. Well, it's a little bit of a challenge to put it in because of the detent and stuff. But we'll show you guys how to do it if you have one, and what to watch out for if you're ever taking the gun down completely to clean. You want to be careful. You can lose spring and ball real fast in that thing. Let's see. I miss the fun of surplus guns. I do too. It was always cool. Everyone had a local shop like we did. We called it the Hole in the Wall. It was named something else completely, but my father-in-law, me, my son, everybody called it the Hole in the Wall because it was an ancient old joint, teeny tiny, not modern, old glass cases, dark paneling, dark in the place, a coffee pot in the corner. Um, just a cool place. And when you walked in, you never knew what you were going to find. He may have a batch of Mosins or a batch of K98s or a batch of early Wassers, or that's where I got my Wasser, and I got my M70 AB2, and I got my SKS, my Yugo SKS. And you'd go on a Saturday and he'd have a whole batch of Henry lever actions for a crazy, ridiculous price. And you never knew what they were going to have. A lot of used guns, a lot of old holsters, big boxes you could pick through and find cool stuff. I miss those places. It was always fun to stop in. Every week wasn't where you stop in a shop today, next week, 2 months later, 3 months after that, and it's the same stuff. It never changes. I hate that. I never had Winchester and all that because those guns were way out of my price range. What do you mean? What, like a 94? Dude, my Winchester Model 94 lever action 3030 was $99 from Kmart. I went with my dad on my 16th birthday to get it. It was $99. The box is sitting in my garage up on a shelf. It's red, white, and blue for whatever reason that year. And I look at it every day when I walk into my garage. The box is on a shelf up there gathering dust. I still have the box. I've saved every box for every gun. And so they were cheap. And it's a beautiful walnut stock, blued. It's a pre 63, but it's probably a 82, maybe 81, 80, somewhere in there. I don't know. Let's see. Think Big Bodybuilding Media. What's up, man? Love your content. First time I've caught you live. Well, cool. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, I don't remember seeing you. You must have a bodybuilding channel. I'm in the bodybuilding, as you can tell by my back. Right? Kidding. I had a buddy that competed. He won Mr. Southwest Michigan one time. Went to Western Michigan University. He was big into bodybuilding. And I had a roommate too that was into bodybuilding. Cool stuff, man. It's like anything. It's addicting. It's a hobby, or a lifestyle. Only 30s era German things I have is a K98 parade bayonet. It's for fire police, I think. There's some cool websites out there, guys, that I've come across that sell militaria. Just do a search, collectible militaria. And there's some that, they must buy, trade, sell, but they listed all different flags or even signs from over in Europe during World War II, where you can buy them. And some stuff's not expensive. There's some stuff that's crazy money, original German helmets with the spike. But there's even some of those originals that aren't all that crazy. Old Nazi signs. And I'm not saying, please don't take that as me promoting it. We're all about just World War II and the history of it, good or bad. But we are certainly not promoting the what do you want to call it? The thought process or the ideology. The ideology. We are not promoting that. It's simply historical. And they have every country like that. You can find old British stuff, American stuff. Um, I could do a video or something on it, get it out to you. You can't say the dot whatever, but just look up militaria for sale. And there's some well-established long-time websites that have some really, really cool stuff. And you can even get stuff that's useful for what we do and collect. Um, Stuff you can use, but all kinds of stuff, different, you know, German signs, different military signs or collections, lighters, kit, different little pieces of kit that are uh, stuff I didn't even know about. They had a gravediggers kit, a U.S. gravediggers kit, and it had all these little glass vials and the tags they would fill out and everything, and it was all in the box, brand new from World War II. And it's what the grave unit used as they came behind the army, scooping up bodies. And it's kind of morbid, but it was interesting. I never knew they had that. I wouldn't buy it to collect, but all kinds of cool stuff, just neat. Um, yeah, and if it's a repop of something, because they do sell some repop stuff, they'll say repop, but read carefully. They're by no means trying to dupe you, but you can dupe yourself sometimes. You know what I mean? But really cool stuff, and it's fun. It's a fun evening to look through it and go, "Wow, I've never seen one of those." But Big Bodybuilding, thanks for coming over and checking us out. We appreciate you doing it. I'm glad you like it. Check out some of our videos. We started out an AK channel, and we are still a lot AK and Russian stuff, but we do everything, a little bit of everything. It's hard to devote a channel to one thing, you run out of stuff after a while and you start redoing. If you guys notice, Mishiko, he's one of my favorite channels of all time. He does black boxes videos where there's nothing on the screen. You're just listening to him like a podcast. I could listen to him all day. He's just such a calm, mellow, kind soul with the most incredible memory you've ever seen. He can tell you how many Dusseldorf rifles were made in 18 Tickety 2 with a Parkerized finish. I mean, his memory, his knowledge of every category, just about, of surplus or military related weaponry, and even non-military stuff. It's I don't know how someone can memorize stuff like that. Crazy. Got a Chinese Uzi for $2.99 back in the late '90s. Brastard, good to see you here, Brastard. He was in earlier. You commented something. I forget what the comment was, and I said it was something. I said me too or something. Whatever it was, it was really cool or really good. I can't remember what the hell it was. And I think I said I got one too or something, and fabulous, whatever it was. I was excited to see you had one. Uh, Apotheosis. Hey, I saw your M44 vid today. I was one of the people a while back asking about a certain ammo getting stuck in a Mosin, but my real question was, why did steel ammo get stuck and brass didn't? I assume you're speaking specifically to the Mosins. So neither should get stuck. It really shouldn't. Long time people were saying, well, it's the lacquer on the steel. And that's really not what's causing it. It can contribute, and in extreme circumstances, sure, maybe. I think one may stick more often than the other because of what I'm going to tell you. But I think the brass expands quicker but contracts more. therefore easier ejection. The steel does not expand as much, but when it does, I think it tends to hold that shape more, just a hair, but either one should eject just fine. The sticky bolt syndrome with Mosin Nagants is not usually an ammo issue. In rare, I'm not saying it can't happen, but or due to the ammo, it can't happen. It is almost always the chamber not being clean enough. And you'll say, oh, bullshit, I clean my chambers and they're spotless and this and that. I'm telling you, there's, you may get the Cosmoline out, you may clean it. Those guns, it's here. 7.62 by 54R is the longest serving military cartridge in the world. That cartridge came into being in what year? Anybody? 1891, right? And it still serves today. The Russian military still uses that cartridge. Militaries around the world use that cartridge. It's the longest serving cartridge in the world. 30-06 obviously doesn't beat it. 308, 7.62 by 39, you name it, 8mm Mauser, 7mm Mauser. None of it has served armies of the world longer than that cartridge. It is the longest serving cartridge. So that being said, there's Mosin Nagants out there since 1891. They were ridden hard, put away wet, weren't that precise to begin with, were used and used up and used up again. They have been re-arsenaled probably several times. Maybe had every single part on them changed out at one time or another. And dirt, debris, Cosmoline. There's been Cosmoline on some of those rifles so long that it is crystallized. It's been shot with it in there in some cases, and then fire charred in there. And you may think it's clean. It ain't clean. It's dirt, debris, hardened Cosmoline, almost shellacked in there, that is making those cartridges stick. Get a good bore brush and some serious solvent and go to town. If they're still sticking, get a little, what is it, Bore Bright? It's like a lapping compound, sort of, and use that in there on a drill. You're not going to hurt it. You're not going to remove enough anything to do anything to it. So don't let these guys tell you that you're going to destroy it and the headspace is going to be out of whack. If the headspace ain't out of whack after 100 years, it's not going to get out of whack. Just trust me when I tell you. You can take a cartridge, fired cartridge, and put some of that compound on there and put it in there and just, rub away. It's got a minor micro abrasive that will get that stuff out of there. Just clean it and clean it again and clean it again. I have Mosin Nagants I've had for 13 years, 18 years that I have cleaned the living hell out of. And I'll go shoot one and I think, it's just a darker bore, but it still shoots great. And I see something in there and I'll put copper cleaner in there. And all of a sudden, all this blue is coming out, and then a whole nother layer of carbon under it. I've done Mosin barrels where I switch between regular solvent and copper solvent. I swear 82 times, and I'm still getting layers out. It's unbelievable. I've seen them put into sonic cleaners and still not clean several times. There's a way to do them with an electrolysis process where you ground it and you run another wire and you put it in this fluid. And that is about the only thing I've seen that can get one completely clean. But you can do a really good job. It takes a ton of elbow grease, time, and patience. But it's the chamber in this case that's doing it. Yes, if you shoot a lot of lacquered steel ammo, the lacquer can build up. We've all seen in our AKs the crumbs or red lacquer laying in the bottom of the receiver. That can build up, and people say, "Well, the heat of the shot flash melts it and welds it into the chamber." No, your gun's going to have to get awfully hot for that to happen. Where the receiver and the chamber are super heated up from a lot of shooting, and you put it in there, maybe it melts. But don't you really think that when they made that modern ammo that they probably thought about that when it came to the lacquer and the heat that it was going to receive? It could be in extreme cases where you get a shitload of it in there, and you got to get it out. I've had brass stick, I've had steel stick, I've had both work just fine. Clean the hell out of the gun. You may have a burr in there. A small burr that you're not noticing can make a big difference. That gun fire forms to that burr, and good luck. Good luck getting it out of there. You're ripping it out of there. Yeah. So clean the gun, inspect it for burrs. That micro polishing with like bore bright or a lapping compound. Be careful with lapping compound, because you can maybe make some changes with that if you went hog wild with it. But you can make a rig where you screw a cleaning rod into the primer hole on a fired case, put that in a drill, put a little compound on there, and go to town just a little bit. And if it doesn't cure it, do a little more and see. Inspect with a magnifying glass and good light and see if you can find some type of burr or something. If it's popping off the extractor, maybe your extractor is getting a bit weak or something. But it's usually what I just told you, not the ammo. I hope that helps you. Steel case, I agree with Joe. And I tell guys, if you're new to the channel, I tell people all the time, there is nothing wrong with steel case ammo. It's not going to ruin your gun. It's not going to ruin your chamber. It's not ridiculously inaccurate. You're not going to wear your gun out faster. That's all bullshit. Don't let anyone tell you to the contrary. Steel cartridge casings are annealed. Annealed is a heating process that softens the metal. That steel has to be fairly soft, so when it fires, it expands and seals the chamber. Otherwise, you'd have all kinds of blowback on it, blow-by. Is it harder than brass? Yeah, it's still pretty damn soft. If your gun wears out from steel cartridges, you have a garbage gun, and the steel is so soft that it wouldn't even be safe. It would come apart. Think about it. You're putting it on tool steel. Your gun is made of tool steel, harder than hell. That stuff is not wearing it out. Might you wear an extractor a tad faster? Maybe. Guys say in there, I would never run it in an AR. Why not? Well, it's aluminum. So what? that cartridge is never touching aluminum. It's going into a steel barrel extension and chamber. You're not wearing the gun out. It's impossible. If you can buy steel case cheap and it shoots accurately in your gun, buy it and shoot it. Save the money. Buy more ammo. Some of the most accurate 308. My AR-10, even is good or better than my hand loads. Wolf 308 shoots the most amazing sub-MOA groups I've ever shot with that rifle with Wolf steel case. I don't know what it is. It works well in the gun. Maybe the length, whatever, who knows? It works. Fabulous. If I were going to enter a shooting contest with that rifle, guess what I'm running in it? Joe, golden age of surplus is gone, but right now we're in the golden age of the AR-15 and polymer pistols, and don't be afraid to try new stuff. Absolutely. Joe hit it on the head. Absolutely. It was 70s Czech silver tip. Yeah. I'm sitting right next to a case. I got a crate right here. It's up there kind of for decoration on an end table, and I put stuff on it, but the crate's full. Blue box silver tip. You ever come across blue 20 round the flat boxes like you'd buy commercial ammo in, but they're powder blue, and on the top they may or may not have what looks like a silver piece of tape. That's Czech silver tip, 7.62 by 51R. Used to be, well, there were versions of 7.62 by 51 from several countries that were way more prolific, but by no means was this stuff rare. It was a hair more money than the other stuff because it has the reputation of being extremely accurate, and it is. In the video, I said I used to get it for $100 a crate, and that may have been a lie, accidental lie. I don't recall. It could have been $80. It could have been $180, but it was somewhere. It was dirt cheap, ridiculously cheap. So ridiculously cheap that when I was a young man with young children and a wife and car payments and a mortgage and all that stuff, I was still buying thousands and thousands of rounds of it. And I still have a lot of it. That's how much I bought. But yeah, if you're looking for an accurate rifle, I think that Czech silver tip was actually designated as like a sniper round, or what the snipers would use, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's great stuff. If you're not buying it in the wooden crate, it came in green wooden crates with a tin lining, spam, not really a spam or a spam, Jesus, spam can, but a tin rectangular can with the key that you put the key in and rolled the edge all the way around, and then peeled the metal back to expose the 20 round boxes of silver tip. And I don't think they were 1,000 round boxes. I think they, let's see how many rounds are in this. Hold on. I won't be able to read on this side. Watch. 800 rounds. 800 round crate. Really cool crates too. Tongue and groove corners. OD green. And on the next live stream, mind me, and I'll show the crate. There's too much stuff in the way right now to move it. Yeah, great ammo. If you find some, grab it. Like I said, if you're buying it, you can find crates of it, but if you're buying it single box, let's see if I can show you a single box here. Hold on. This is a Mosin Nagant live stream. I might as well show you the ammo. Hold on. Let me get the crate open. Now I got to peel back the metal. There we go. Oh, no key on these. They're like, what do you call it? Soldered around the edge, and there's 2 rings. And you pull the rings, and that pulls the strips around that peel through the solder and open the top of the spam can. It's been a long time since I've been in a crate of this. So this is how you will find Czech silver tip. See a silver stripe? It's not like tape. It's like paint, like a roller paint mark. Stapled on the ends, or on one end. And this one happens, I don't know what that is, an end mark or something in blue. We'll show you what it looks like. This is part of what turned me on to these rifles when the guy showed me the round it fired. There is Czech silver tip. See the silver tip? And it is great stuff. Steel case. This is by far the best ammo you can fire out of any 7.62 by 51 are, in my opinion. Not to say that modern commercial isn't great as well. This is corrosive, I believe. Yeah, it's got to be. That's how long it's been, guys, since I broke these out. I had so much knowledge jammed in my head, but then, like anything, when you don't mess with it for a while, I got so into AKs and everything else that all the knowledge slips away. Things will dawn on me tonight when I take it out to do the range video. It'll all start coming back. But yeah, this is great stuff. It is not lacquered. Look at that. That's cool. Black primers. See? Neat stuff. Neato. Yeah, but 20 round box. And this is probably how you'll find it, like at gun shows and stuff. Maybe someone will have a few boxes or a crate they opened. I don't know what it's going for these days. I know it's going for a lot more than I paid. I should probably sell some of it off, but you know me, I don't. I'm a hoarder. Once I got it, I'll keep it around for whatever reason. It takes a lot for me to sell something, or unless maybe a buddy needs it or wants it. Half the time, if they're that good a buddy that I'd consider getting rid of it, I'll just give it to them. But yeah, cool stuff. Great ammo and good call. Thanks for bringing that up. Let's go through the chat here. See if there's any more questions and any new viewers. That's cool. So for you new viewers, we're here every Tuesday night. Right now, everyone's going, yeah, right. He ain't been here in 3 weeks. No. Like I said, had a wedding and some extenuating circumstances. I try to be here every Tuesday. If not, I'll try and reschedule. Steel case. Sorry, guys. I'm just running through here. Apothesis. He also saw that. That's cool. He remembered the other guy's thread or comment. Cosmo line never really leaves the gun. It just adheres elsewhere. Correct. Or hardens. It just changes form like energy, right? Cosmoline is horrible. The smell never goes away either. Slightly changes. It may dissipate, but it recoagulates somewhere. Yeah, I hate Cosmoline. God, I hate Cosmoline. You know how many friggin' Jesus Christ, losing my mind. I'm losing my thought. How many Cerakote jobs it's ruined on me when I was first getting going with that. Always bake out your pieces before you Cerakote. After you clean them, bake them out. You'll find oil coming out of all kinds of places. But like you said, steel should be able to take anything. I wouldn't expect the steel to expand more than softer brass, or maybe I'm missing something. I didn't mean it expands more. It doesn't have the elasticity of brass. How's that sound? By a little bit. It's not a big deal. It runs great in automatic weapons. Why would it not run great in a bolt action? That's just... none of that makes sense. I'm telling you, clean the rifle, look for a burr, and use Bore Bright. It's a powder cream. There's a couple different brands, but yeah, it works good. And do the drill thing, like I said. It'll work great. You can use it by hand too. There was also a website called Mauser Central, which was geared towards sporterizing. I don't remember that. I wish I had gotten into Mausers earlier. The only Mauser I have is my son's, a Russian Capture, and I love it. But I would like a really nice top-end Mauser. And not knowing much about Mausers, guys, there's a lot I know. There's a lot I don't know. You can't be an expert on everything unless you're Misha. But I wish I always thought that remember the Mitchell's Mausers, right? And they'd show this gorgeous, like brand new K98 with all the stuff. I wanted one of those so bad. And then come to find out, a lot of them that they were advertising, I guess, tell me if I'm right or wrong. A lot of them they were advertising as German World War II Mausers were actually not even German Mausers. They were like some other type of Mauser. Uh, I don't know. Just, I guess they got a bad rap for a while, and a lot of guys um, harped on them because they said, "Oh, they're not the originals, or they're um, redone, re-blued, re this, re that." I don't know the true whole story on it. I do know Mitchell's Mausers brought in some really nice Yugo AKs, really nice. But even that, some of the wood was changed on a couple of the models, but they had some nice stuff. Now, I'm not the type of collector that would, poo-poo a Mitchell Mauser because it's been made perfect and like new. If that was an original K98 and it's correct and they just made the stock nice and the bluing perfect and all that, yeah, I'd have one for sure. I may have another one, but I like perfect, like new things. That's what turns me on. Um, I appreciate a banged up, well used surplus rifle if that's all that's out there. But in most cases, if I like something enough and I find uh, you know, I won't say battlefield pickup, but a properly worn example and still in fine condition, good condition, but is worn. Some of the bluing missing. I'm not talking rusty. Um, Maybe some gouges in the stock, and that's what is correct. Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for it. I want that, but I also love a perfect one that's been redone, but redone correctly, not sporterized, not wrong. I want it like it was, brand new, issued out of the wrap. Here you go, soldier. That's how I always would love to have one example like that of everything if I could. So if Mitchell made a K98 Mauser that was all redone, reblued, and done well, man, I'd love to have one. Love to have one. That would be cool. And no one's saying that it's as collectible as a 95% original untouched one. No one's saying that. Um, no one's saying it's worth as much as one. Of course not. It's worth less. But to me, it's what I want. So what's it worth to me? I don't know. Obviously, not as much as a real nice original, but it's worth a penny. I get they cost money to make those. I'd love to have one. So if you guys know if they did make like a remanufactured, like new K98 German Mauser that had all the German markings and the eagle and all that, hell yeah, I want one. That'd be cool. That being said, that Russian capture is cool. It's a prime example of Russian shellac. We were talking about shellac earlier. Prime example of it because you can see the reddish in it and stuff. Um, this example still has the eagles on it and everything. Uh, it's a nice rifle. There was nothing wrong with it. Different butt plate, I believe. I believe the Russians put a flat steel butt plate on it. Why, I don't know. When they captured them, weren't they already done, or were some in different states of being built? I don't know. But I see other K98s and the butt plates are different. And again, it's just something I haven't looked into, but I definitely want one. I'd like an Arsaka too, a nice one. But if I'm going to buy one, I want it with the anti-aircraft sights and the mum intact. And what's the other thing? There's three things you want. Yeah, I'd like a nice one. That's all. Nice version of it. Not because I want to shoot it, not because anything, because it was one of the major powers, and they had their rifle, and I want one. I want my Grand, the Mosin, Enfield, and so on down the line. I don't have an Enfield, guys. I need one, nice one. Again, one of those things I've just dabbled in, read just enough, watched just enough to be dangerous, but I don't know what mark I want or would need or want what fits World War II. I don't even know. Mark II, Mark 1, Mark 7, Mark 12, 42. I don't know. But I think the Enfield's a good looking rifle. From what I hear, not the most accurate or greatest, but I do know that the boys shooting those things back in the day loved their rifles, loved them. And there was a cache of them. They're called mummy rifles. And they found a bunch of them in an arsenal somewhere in that anti-rust paper with the Cosmoline, the anti-rust paper, and something else they wrapped them in, like some material, and the twine and everything, and the tag, brand new in the wrapper. They're called mummy rifles, and you can buy them. Some guys bought them because they're big collectors, and they left them. They never even opened them up. Others have opened them up on YouTube videos. Others opened them up to shoot them. I would definitely open mine up, but why? Because now I have a perfect brand new rifle without a mark on it. I bid on one. I was bidding on one in an auction for a bunch of days, and I thought I was going to win it. And at the last minute, I got pulled away. It was work related, and I could not. I think I had forgotten about it. No, I wouldn't have forgotten about that rifle, but whatever. I got pulled away. I'm like, oh, I hope the bid holds up. And somebody outbid me at the last minute. I would have had 15 minutes to beat them, but I wasn't able to get to it, and I lost the rifle. But I'm sure there's more out there, and I would love to have one. Let's see. Joe, I'll be honest, after that last Koffee and Kalashnikovs, I asked that question. The very next day, I pulled that Mosin out and cleaned the heck out of that chamber just to be sure. And it's still sticking? Have you shot it since then? And what kind of ammo are you putting through it? What kind of steel case? It happens. I grew up on surplus. I actually never had a 22 rifle until I was an adult. I bought first rifle at 14 with my dad. It was a hex receiver 9130. Cool. He probably just wanted to go shooting with you, Rock. What was that about? I don't remember. Cosmo or not, I still wonder why 70s Czech steel ammo would stick up the bolt. It shouldn't. It should not. Have you checked headspace on the rifle? Order a gauge, a go no go gauge, and check it. I doubt it's a bad batch of ammo. Check the headspace on it again. Check for burrs. Other than that, I don't know. So you're saying the bolt handle is just hard to open? One of those ones you got to hammer open? I don't know. Keep shooting it. I have one that sticks all the time, but it got better. The old ammo could have messed up its original explosive over time, even to the point of blowing out the steel case. Glad I shoot that ammo. Yeah, old ammo is only as good as how it was stored. So if ammo is stored at the right temperatures, dry climate, it can last indefinitely. If it's stored under high heat, humidity, it can go to crap. And those old powders, you'll start to get nitro, leaking out of them and stuff. And who knows what it does. Everyone thinks, well, the powder degrades. It can. I've heard, I've never seen it personally, but I've heard of powders getting or certain cartridges getting almost more powerful, not often I've heard stories. Whether they're true or not, I don't know. Keltec is good to me, KSG, etc. Yeah. The sub 2000 is a really cool gun. Everybody should have one. Let's get through some of this stuff here. Buybacks are pure evil. Yes, they are. Can the cops save a rare gun if one comes in? I doubt it, but my experience with police departments as an employee, and my father is an employee of one, let's just say, depending on the department, there might be a way for, there's always a way, right? It just depends, I guess, on the brass, They do destroy them, though. They could at least sell the rare ones. Best prayer people print guns and run them out of money so they can. Yeah. A lot of them are waking up to that. So that guy that printed off 35 receivers or whatever they were he printed, they paid him. But now I guess there's fine print in that city for sure, and maybe some others. They're catching on to it. Joe says the thing people forget about SKS and AKs, they are post-World War II guns. The modularity we all love wasn't a thing until 60s and 70s. Absolutely. SKS is a neat rifle, fun to shoot. I had a guy really go off on me on an old video. Any of you guys seen my Bubba video about the SKS? De-bubbifying my rifle? I start out doing a spoof of like a hillbilly, I'm talking like a hillbilly and all. Talking, we're going to make this rifle into something. I got a pig sticker on the end and this and that. I bought my SKS, my Yugo SKS, and pretty quickly, because I had AKs and I thought, I'm going to, make this thing better. While collecting and permanently sporterizing or changing military rifles was, I was highly aware of it, and I didn't want to be that guy, so I would never do anything that would permanently change one. But as far as, taking one down and making changes to it that could be changed back, I never had a problem with that. And I always saved the parts. So what did I do? I ran out and got a Tapco kit. And I put the stock on, came with the grip. The gas tube, you had to drive the pin out and put the upper handguard on it. I didn't want to ruin that pin and the stock handguard on it. So I went so far as to buy the Tapco gas tube and put that in the Tapco upper handguard. And when I put it all together, I had essentially a single shot bolt action because there was too much. I was getting leakage or blow by on the piston. It wouldn't run. It would fire one shot and that was it. And at first I thought it was the piston. And then when you get their Tapco's gas tube, they lock in similar to an AK. You have to file the top down till that latch slides in and is snug. And I got a little overzealous with it, and it was a hair loose. And I thought that must be what's causing this. And thinking back, I think that was actually because I took an O-ring, a Viton O-ring of appropriate size, and put it between the gas block and the tube, locked it down, and I can't remember. It was just a hair over. I had gone just a hair over. I was pissed, and it was super hard to get that O-ring in. That's how close it was, but it was enough to let too much gas leak out. And when I did that, it would fire, but that was a hack solution. when I put the Yugo gas tube and handguard back on it with the Tapco stock and all, it ran perfectly. So it was one of those things I just sort of set aside, and when I wanted to shoot, I'd throw an O-ring in there, and it would last indefinitely. It wouldn't get blown out of there. The Viton are high heat versions, not regular rubber. Anyhow, um, as I got older and matured and my collection matured, I looked at it one day and said, boy, first of all, I never liked it because you were trying to make something into something that it just was never going to be. It looked way too long because of the grenade launching spigot on there and the bayonet and all that stuff. The Tapco mags and all worked great, but hard to change, not fast. It just wasn't ideal. And so I said, I'm going to change this Bubba rifle back. And it was just a video on me redoing the beach stock on that, putting all the stock stuff back together and taking it to the range and shooting it. And I love it way more in the wood today. Anyways, this guy went off telling me that I'm just like everybody else, listening to all these guys about that rifles are only good if they're stock, and Tapco is a wonderful product and we use them all the time and you're brainwashed. And I'm like, dude, it was a spoof. And I even said in the video, the Tapco was good stuff. It worked great. If that's what you want to run it. But I'd rather just get an AK that works much better, is a lot lighter, and whatever, And why not leave it how it is? Why spend that money other than you're getting more capacity? But if you want more capacity, go get the steel Chinese mags that you could change the whatever, what is it, floor plate or the pin or something, and run those. Be the same damn thing. Or go get a jungle version or whatever. But he was just going off. And I said, it was one of the few times I responded to somebody that is being a dick, and I had fun with it. You should go look at the post. It's kind of funny. In case you want to back me up on it or something, it'd be funny. This guy was that big a jerk. I've been resorting to watching a lot of history stuff, as I find even watching foreign language gun videos. A friend in India even did a video on Gandhi. Dude, you got way too much time at home. Let's see, Martin Coe. It doesn't cost anything to salivate over them. You're right. No worries here, Martin. After this month, we are stretched so thin, I can't afford a stick of gum until payday. Yep, all been there, man. Who else is in here? We'll work for guns. What's up, Fockers? God, I love that movie. Meet the Fockers and Meet the Parents and all that. Those are hilarious movies. Militant Roots is in here. What kind of pistols there? 4 guns. My local FFL is going to buy my Walther, looking to get another Shadow Systems. Ooh, we got Big Dollar Man in here. Oh, you got the big dollar. You got the big dollar. Anyhow, so we're through the comments. Some good stuff there. It was good to talk about the Mosins and the sticking cases. If anybody else has had that issue and has solved it some way, legit, that's what I'm telling you, what I found. I've had a couple sticking, cleaning the chamber, finding this little random burr. It was a couple of them. I guess sometimes maybe it's just the ammo. Obviously, you're shooting other ammo now, and it's running fine. But brass, I assume, try a different brand of steel. See what it does. So for some of you guys that are new here, not every Koffee and Kalashnikovs, but once in a while, I try to bring out a blade of the week. So well, this week, it's 2 blades of the week. Knives, first pocket knives, then all knives became kind of a hobby of mine. because my father-in-law was way into it. And I appreciate knives just like guns. In the M44 video, you'll notice me talking about why I like collecting guns. There's a lot of reasons. There's the history. I love the history connected to it. I love to hold in my hands something that was made in 1943 and used in theater, carried by who knows who. It'd be wonderful to know who, but carried by a soldier that had, all the emotions, the fear, the family at home, wondering if he'd make it back, how it was used, who it was used against. All of those things, when you grab that rifle and you're holding on to it, you're right where his hands were, right? And it's got all that history it can tell. And it's amazing just to think about its story and what led up to its story, and maybe what the story was of how that person ended up standing there holding that rifle. What happened to him? All those things. I love the history of it. Um, I like collecting. I like stuff. But and I love shooting. I love competing in shooting events. But probably right up there with shooting and the history is what I call the artwork. There's something about taking raw materials, mostly organic, steel, comes out of the ground as iron ore, right? And we melt it down and we mix it with other metals, and um, we turn it into molten liquid, and we beat it and we pound it into shape, and then we polish it and we finish finely, and then we take a tree and saw it down and take this rough wood product, and again a craftsman works that product and files it and carves it and sands it and finishes it. And then at some point, the two come together. And there's something about blued steel and wood or nickel plating, and just how a craftsman can take such rough products and make them perfect, make them symmetrical, and make them absolutely smooth, and make two dissimilar things meld together into one machine that works. And then the fine lines of it, that some are intrinsic in it, some have to be there because of the engineering. Others, people take uh, artistic leeway with it and form it because they think it looks good. And some are so ugly, they're beautiful. Some are so mechanical that in a steampunk sort of way, they're cool. Others are so perfect and flowing that they're gorgeous. Uh, and whatever it is, at the end of the day, they come together and they work in this symphony of action and gas and fire and chemicals, and everything comes together in this magnificent thing. It's like certain of my one in particular, old Harley. I loved riding. I love riding. It's one of my favorite things. Motorcycles, same thing. It's an art to me. And that I'd park that Harley in the garage, and I was done polishing it and putting it away, and I would sit there on the stairs in the garage staring at it. And different parts I would see the way it flowed or whatever. I loved looking at it. Like some people might like looking at the Mona Lisa or a Picasso. I don't enjoy that much, but this I do. And I love guns for that as much as the history, as much and a lot of times even more so than shooting them. I just find them incredible. And that's what I like about knives. Knives are even more perfect. Knives are these sharp, perfect, polished things, and I just love them. Love the feel of them, everything. So anyhow, I like hunting too. And I found this knife. at Cabela's one day, and I just thought it was gorgeous. I love buck knives because a buck folding hunter was my first knife for deer hunting. I skinned my first deer, gutted my first deer with it. And then we've all seen the bucks, the fixed blade with the black micarta or plastic handle and the aluminum butt. And it's about a, I don't know, 6-7 inch blade, straight blade. I forget the number. They're called, let's see if there's a number on here. Actually, I might have the silver ones here somewhere. This is a, oh, what the hell is it? Hold on. Let me grab my glasses. I'm sorry for the delay, guys. I hate when this happens. I feel like I'm leaving you hanging. It's the anniversary. Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, someone here will know it because it's their classic fixed blade. Anyways, they came out with a 75th anniversary edition. And it was also, Cabela's had their Alaskan Guide series, which is a special edition they do. And I saw it in a case, and it was absolutely beautiful. And here it is. Alaskan Guide version of the fixed blade buck. Normally, the standard version has an aluminum pommel and a black micarta sort of plastic handle. They are full tang and very simple blades, but just a great knife. Is a camp knife, is using the gutted deer, whatever. But the other ones have black leather sheaths. This one's brown, and it has Alaskan Guide series Cabela's stamped in here. On the handle is not rosewood. I think it's Coca-Cola, maybe. I'd have to look at the box again. But it says 70. There's a metal in here. It says 75 years, 1942. Is it 42? 1942 to 2017. So I got this 5 years ago. God, it seems like yesterday. They did a DLC coating. It's actually a vapor coating that they put on here that turns it black. I forget exactly what it is, but very nice hard coating, protects it. It has the Alaskan Guide Series logo here. It says it's got an anvil, which is Buck's, part of Buck's logo, with a 75 in it. It says Buck. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Buck 75 USA, I believe. And there's the 75th anniversary medal in the handle. So I didn't really care for this coating, but I thought I might actually use this on an elk hunt. So I thought, well, it's easy to take care of and all, although it was stainless. But just the wood and all, it's just a fine version of their normal one. And they made this too, very similar without the black coating, but at the time they didn't have it. And this was neat, and I thought it was cool, so I bought it. And it's just a beautiful. This is just a quintessential put it on your belt when you go hunting camp knife, And then I'm at a flea market in northern Wisconsin. And there's a guy there selling random knives, some junk, some not. And this is there with the box. And I noticed the yellow box right away. And I look at the wood. I'm like, oh my God. It's just like the other one, except looky. And this one was the upgraded version of their standard one, but it's more like a Skinner. And I thought, both of these are on a hunting trip. You don't need any more than that. Some guys like a gut hook. I don't care for a gut hook. It doesn't matter. I don't use them. but I get my fingers in there and zip them right up. But basically, the same wood, the same brass, even the same little ring liner there, but the plain stainless blade. And it was brand new in the box. And I said, how much? And the guy was like, $25 or something. It was dirt cheap. And I said, I'll take it. And I went to pay for it. My mom was standing there with me. And it was very close to this date now, a few years back, which my birthday was close. And she stepped in front of me real quick and handed the guy the money and said, happy birthday. Um, so it's cool. And then I went on to explain to her how I had the other knife, and it was a perfect pair to it. And I really like this knife because I told you I don't really care for that black. This wood is a little got more figure to it and the color, and I just like the shape and the feel of this thing. You can get your finger in here for working and getting around bones and stuff, and just such a nice knife. And it doesn't get any better or more American than a buck. Um, Again, my first hunting knife, and I'll probably always hunt with one. I've got some early Kershaws when Kershaw was Kershaw and he was making the knives. I've got some of his originals made by him, one offs. One with elk bone scales, a folder, and a little matching pocket knife to it. Came from that gun shop I talked about earlier, where we'd go shooting in that quarry with him. He was one of the first people in the country to sell those Kershaws when he was up and coming. This is going back to the 70s. I'll bet those Kershaws are worth some pretty decent money now, I would think. Today they're mass produced and whatever. I still think they're Kershaws. I don't think they're making them in China, although I bet they have a line that is, as most do. I think even Buck has a couple knives they sell at Walmart that are made in China, but put the Buck name on them. But these are made here, and just gorgeous knives. Really nice. And this is just the shape, the drop point, everything, just the finger grooves. Always such a comfortable knife. And the black one with the aluminum handle is a knockaround knife. It gets banged up, and I take it on the polishing wheel, and I polish the aluminum. I even polish the micarta. I sharpen the blade, and it looks like it just came out of the box. The original. The brass on these is getting a little time for a little polishing. There's a little green on here, but this knife, you'll never hurt it with this black coating. I can't remember the name of the vapor process, but it's very interesting and super high corrosion resistance and super high hardness. So kind of cool. Let's see. So very cool. Foundation model, elk foundation. Shadow systems. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. He's talking about that. The gun. Anyhow, so what we got coming this week, we're going to get that M44 out to the range. We're probably going to take the M38 with it. We're going to shoot some Czech silver tip. And I can probably wrangle up an old beat up box of brown bear somewhere. That was back, guys, when you had kids and bills, and we all know when times are tight or problems arise, a family emergency, whatever, and you're short on money. Well, when you got kids, you're always short on money. And I remember, to buy a box of $3 or $4 brown bear or wolf ammo was, man, okay, if I could get 2 boxes this week, I'd have 200 rounds saved up. Man, okay, I'm getting somewhere now. I'm prepped. You know, I remember getting to 100 rounds and 200 rounds. And man, I think, imagine if I could have 300 rounds of ammo or 500 rounds for a Mosin Nagant, mind you. Um, and then when the Wasser came into the picture, God, I got 100 rounds, and you wanted to go shoot so bad, but if you went and shot 60 rounds, you'd only have 40 left. And what if something happened and I only got 40 rounds? And I think how that seems like yesterday. And it really was. I mean, it was 15, 16, 17 years ago. And now I look around and I've got more spare random boxes of ammo laying around here. Probably had 2,000 rounds of it. I'm probably within 30,000 rounds of ammo within arm's reach right now. I mean, it's amazing how things change. All I can tell you is start doing it, start collecting, start putting away what you need. I think, there's the collecting, there's the 2A, there's the prepping side, hoping that dark times don't come upon us and that things stay the norm and get better and all of that. But they all kind of go together, right? We hope that we have these because just collecting and having fun, but the Second Amendment's very important. And while they're great for having family fun with and collecting and enjoying, there's a much more important reason we have them too. And you can never forget that. And they go hand in hand. So enjoy them. That's what they're there for. Sometimes we get too caught up in the bad stuff and we forget to enjoy what we have. And that enjoyment can be training. It can be planning your preparedness. Make sure you're doing all those things because it all matters. And every little bit you sock away, you save, you buy, you collect, you get ammo. All these things go together. And one day you wake up and you're like, wow, I really have a nice collection. Or, I feel I'm pretty ready for take care of my family, that kind of thing. So make sure you do it and have fun with it. But remember to have fun with it. That's all. A lot going on in the Second Amendment world. I'm not going to get into that tonight. I'm not going to get political. It's all about the fun. We can talk about other stuff. There's a lot of good news out there. This Bruin thing is really helping. But there's always some hits we're taking, like Smith & Wesson being sued by that family, where the Highland Park shooter. Um, when that thing happened, when they sued over Sandy Hook and the Supreme Court agreed, that took Remington down. That's what they're going to try to do, guys. They're going to try and lawsuit them to death and take them down. There's got to be a solution to this. Either a law, which the original law was put in place to prevent, well, they legally wrangled around it. They found a way around it, right? Well, November is 39 days away, 40 days away. We have to be prepared. Call your senators, call your reps, talk to your friends, family, different people. Tell them why they need to support those that support the Second Amendment. Ask them, are you sick of what's going on yet? Are you sick of what your dollar buys? Are you sick of watching crazy old men lead us down wrong paths, possibly into war, possibly to where a lot of people get killed? Tell them why. Educate them. And we need November to go the right way. If it doesn't go the right way, guys, I fear that's the last. We've turned the corner and there's no coming back. Because 2 years has seemed like an eternity, has it not? Anyhow, that's all I'm going to say about it. Have fun, guys. Pick one of your favorites tonight. Go grab it out of the safe, take it apart, look at it, enjoy it, marvel at it, and then take it to the range tomorrow and have some fun. Introduce someone to the sport. Do something to support the Second Amendment. Call your senators, call your representatives. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to promote. I know I had been talking about doing Mosin videos forever, and I thought, God, I gotta clean them and make sure they're put away right and all of that. So why not do some videos? And frankly, it's going to be fun to get out there and shoot them. And maybe I'll even bring some 9130s. We'll see. Maybe we'll do a big range day, and then we'll get into each of them a little bit and do videos on each of them. So, yeah, they're fun. Mosins are great, says Militant Roots. And he's right. They are great. They are what started everything we love about Russian weapons. Longest serving military cartridge on the planet. It served longer than any other cartridge. That says a lot about it, doesn't it? Pretty cool little stat there, if you guys didn't know. Hey, Rock, anybody here check out Thunder on the Tundra AK shoot the past weekend? In Ripon? You're kidding me. Could I have went? No. What did I do last weekend? Was the wedding, was it not? I don't remember. I couldn't have gone either way. No, last weekend was, what did I do? Worked Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, no, I could have gone. God, I didn't know about it. I didn't even know about it. I remember someone mentioning it quite a while ago, and I didn't see anything after that. It slipped my mind. I went as a spectator on Sunday. It was an awesome event. Any big names there? Any YouTubers? Anybody? Did Krebs show up there, or Rifle Dynamics, or anybody? I don't know. Krebs is close enough. Did they have sort of a AK 3-gun match, or any fun shoots? Vendors, cool vendors. Who was there? What was going on? Tell us. Love to know. I'll wait for you for a little bit if you can type fast. I was about to say goodbye and you snuck in there, Steve, but that's okay. Steve Bemis. Steve Bemis. Oh, you're that guy. You're the toilet guy. No, I'm kidding. Gotta love a Bemis. I'll take a Bemis over an Elger any day. How about you guys? What do you think? Nothing like a good old Bemis. Kohler's not bad either, you know. That's up in Wisconsin. Kohler, Wisconsin, Black Wolf Run. Nice golf course. Nice golf course. There was also a Bemis auto group. They had a Ford dealer in Byron, Illinois. They had a Chrysler dealer in Oregon, Illinois. They had, I think they still have some dealers, maybe, where is it? Northern Illinois University. Sycamore, maybe? There's a Bemis family. And they've been car dealers forever. They had a tiny little showroom in this little town where I used to live. And they sold out recently some of their stores. I don't know. Not recently. Time flies. It's been years already. I was just wondering if you were maybe part of that family or something. But no, you're probably part of the Bemis toilet fortune. Anyhow, just kidding, man. If you can throw a comment in here, I would like to know how it was. If not, I guess I'll have to go find a video on it. Damn it. I knew about it and I should have went. And it just, with the wedding and all, it was a lot. So anyhow, guys, thanks so much. If you haven't already, please like the video. It helps us out. Please subscribe and go and check out a couple of our videos. Like and subscribe to those. Make sure you're hitting the bell. Remember, super chat there. You can throw a little do re mi our way to help the channel out. Anything from a penny to $1,000,000 helps. We would love you to help us out. It's awesome. I don't bug you guys. I don't do all kinds of crazy stuff. We just throw it out there during our live streams, and it helps tremendously. I hope you liked the M44 video. If you haven't seen it, go over there, check it out. Let me know what you think about the shellac job. That was the first one I ever did, and there were hundreds to follow. I was looking at it, actually looks really good considering, but we do all kinds of stuff now. Well, I should say I haven't done one in a long while. I quit doing it, just time consuming. I'll still do them if I feel like them. Sometimes somebody contacts me and they'll send their stock or ask if I have one already done. Sometimes I do it as therapy. I'll get a couple sets of Russian wood or something, or Romanian wood, and I'm bored one night and I mess around with some different colors and do them, and then they sit around. If I don't have a rifle to put them on, I'll show them on a live stream or something, and somebody will grab them, whatever. But it's fun. If you haven't tried it and you want to do it, need some tips, let me know. I've got a great shellac refinishing video on the RPK, the AES-10B that we did. And that RPK stock, because it's that big flat laminate, man, it came out gorgeous. It takes an AES-10B that has that dried out typical Romanian wood and just turns it into a showpiece. Beautiful. Go check that video out if you want to check one out. When you're in there, like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you get notifications. I hope you all got notifications tonight of the live stream and the premiere. Check out our Facebook. We post there occasionally. Our Instagram, we get some cool pics. Still haven't gotten to the website, but we do have a website, rockfordordnance.com. Yeah, check it out, and recommend us, share us on your Facebook, whatever. That's what helps. Find us some subscribers. Anybody you know that's interested in this stuff, show them the channel, invite them over. We'd love to have them. Thanks to you new folks that were here tonight. I don't know that I've seen Steve in here before, and the bodybuilding guy that was here. I hope he likes it enough to come back. We enjoy it. Martin, thanks for your super chat. We appreciate it as always. Don't get discouraged, guys. Find something to collect. Find something in your price range. Get out there and collect, and have fun. It's all fun. Anyhow, thanks. And as always, Rockford Ordnance out. Ooh, just missed 3 minutes or 3 hours. Damn. Well, making up for lost time, right? Good night, guys. Thanks again. Love you all. Going to shoot some Mosins.